Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Have you ever wondered why some people leave you feeling completely drained, no matter how short the conversation? What if I told you that the biggest threat to your peace of mind in old age isn't illness, but the company you keep? Let's talk about the kind of people who quietly steal your joy, one complaint at a time. There's something about growing older that makes us more selective about who we allow into our lives. When we were younger, we had the patience and, frankly, the energy to deal with a wide range of personalities, the constant complainers, the harsh critics, and those who could find a problem in every possible solution. But as the years go by, we start to realize something important. Peace of mind is far more valuable than tolerating constant negativity. And let me be very clear, if there's one group of people you absolutely must avoid in old age, it's the chronic complainers. You know exactly who I'm talking about. These are the individuals who can turn even the best of days into a gray cloud. If it's hot outside, it's too hot. If it's cold, it's unbearable. If they're served a meal at a restaurant, it's too salty, too bland, or just not as good as some place they went last week. These people can, and will, find fault in everything. And worse yet, they never stop. Now don't get me wrong, we all have tough days. Life throws curveballs, and sometimes, we all need to vent. That's human. But there's a big difference between letting off steam every now and then, and making negativity a daily habit. Chronic complainers don't just share their feelings. They create a heavy atmosphere, one that spreads like smoke in a closed room. And if you're not mindful, that gloom will start to seep into your own spirit, quietly and quickly. You might sit down expecting a lighthearted chat, but within minutes, you feel your energy being drained. They grumble about their health, complain about the government, criticize their neighbors, their family, and even blame things they have absolutely no power to change, like the past or the direction the world is heading. And after spending time with them, something shifts. You begin to feel the weight of their words pressing on your chest. You feel more tired, more irritated, more discouraged. And here's the real danger. Negativity is contagious. The more time you spend around chronic complainers, the more likely you are to start seeing life the way they do. You begin to notice what's missing instead of what's present. You start to focus on the bad instead of the good. And slowly, gratitude starts slipping away. But in this stage of life, gratitude is something you absolutely cannot afford to lose. Because here's the honest truth. Every single day you wake up is a blessing. Every sunrise you witness, every breath you take, those are moments of grace. Stay tuned, because in the next part, we'll explore exactly how to protect your spirit and set firm boundaries. Until then, I wish you health, happiness, and peace. And don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Daily for more life-changing wisdom. Every breath you take, every moment spent with someone who truly cares, that's a gift, a quiet miracle we often overlook. But when you surround yourself with chronic complainers, you slowly forget to notice those simple, beautiful moments that give life meaning. Instead of enjoying the aroma of your morning coffee, you find yourself distracted, thinking about how the world seems to be falling apart. Instead of smiling at the birds singing just outside your window, you're caught up in thoughts about how everything used to be better back then. And rather than cherishing the time you still have, you end up wasting it, trapped in someone else's endless loop of bitterness and complaints. You listen, you nod, and without even realizing it, their misery becomes a soundtrack in your mind, playing on repeat. Now let's be clear. This isn't about walking away from people who are truly struggling. It's not about turning your back on someone who needs real help. We all face tough times, and support is a beautiful part of human connection. But there's a clear line between supporting someone through hardship and allowing their negativity to take over your life. If a person is constantly complaining yet refuses to seek solutions, if they shut down every positive idea and wear their suffering like it's a badge of honor, then it's time to make a tough but necessary decision. Do you continue to let their energy drain you? Or do you choose to step away and protect your peace? You owe it to yourself to choose peace. You owe it to your heart and mind to create a space free from the poison of constant complaints. At this stage of life, you deserve joy. You deserve laughter. And above all, you deserve to be surrounded by people who lift you up, not drag you down into their cycle of never-ending dissatisfaction. So be mindful of the company you keep. If someone's presence consistently leaves you feeling depleted, if their words dim your view of the world instead of brightening it, then maybe it's time to walk away. Because the truth is, life is short, especially now. Every day matters. Every moment counts. Why spend it wading through negativity? Fill your days with gratitude. Fill them with people who light you up, who inspire you to be your best, who help you see what's still possible. And if ever you're tempted to join in the complaints, pause for a moment and ask yourself, do I want to spend my remaining years counting burdens or counting blessings? That single choice, repeated each day, can shape the quality of your life more than anything else. It's a hard truth many people ignore, but it's one worth facing with open eyes and a hopeful heart. You have to be incredibly mindful about who gets access to your time, your energy, and, most importantly, your money. Because if you're not careful, you'll soon find yourself surrounded by people who aren't genuinely there for you. They're not interested in your well-being, they're interested in what you can give them. And let me tell you, financial leeches are among the most dangerous individuals to keep close in your later years. You've probably seen them before. In fact, there might be someone like that in your life right now. They show up smiling, full of charm, speaking sweetly about how much they love and appreciate you. It all seems innocent at first, warm, even comforting. But sooner or later, the real reason for their visit surfaces. They just need a little help. A small loan. Just enough to get by. Nothing big, they say. And in that moment, you think to yourself, well, why not? I care about them. If I can help, I should help. It feels right. You want to be generous. You want to be supportive. But here's what they don't tell you. The first yes is never the last. Because to a financial leech, your kindness isn't seen as a generous act. It's seen as an invitation, an open door they plan to walk through again and again. Every time they return, there's a new excuse, a new emergency, a new reason why they need your money. And slowly, you find yourself trapped in a cycle of giving. Sometimes out of guilt, sometimes out of pressure, often just to avoid confrontation. But that's not the worst part. The real danger lies in how they make you feel. These individuals are master manipulators. They'll pull at your heartstrings, reminding you of their struggles, their hardships, their impossible dreams. And if guilt doesn't work, they'll shift tactics, using flattery instead. Suddenly, you're being told how wise you are, how kind, how deeply they admire you. Not because they genuinely believe it, but because they've learned that compliments open wallets. And before you even realize what's happening, you're not just giving them money. You're funding their entire lifestyle. You're paying for their poor decisions. You're covering the consequences of their irresponsibility. You're bailing them out of situations they repeatedly walk into because they know you'll catch them. And in all this, one question begins to form in your mind. Do they ever really care about you? Or only what you can provide? And do they appreciate it? No. The moment you finally say no, the moment you set a clear boundary, their entire attitude shifts. Suddenly, you're the selfish one. Suddenly, they don't have time for you anymore. And just like that, it hits you. They were never truly there for you in the first place. Their affection was conditional. Their kindness was transactional. It was never about you. It was always about what you could offer. Now, don't misunderstand me. There is nothing wrong with helping people who genuinely need support. If someone you love is going through a real hardship and you have the means to help, that's a beautiful and noble thing. Compassion is a strength. Lending a hand to someone in a time of need is one of the ways we show love and humanity. But there's a difference, a critical difference, between helping someone get back on their feet and allowing them to pull you down with them. In this stage of life, your financial security is more important than ever. You've spent decades working hard, making sacrifices, saving, and planning. You've earned the right to enjoy what you've built. You shouldn't feel like you have to give it all away just to keep certain people in your life. Because the hard truth is, the people who only stay close for your money, they were never real friends. They were never truly family. They were opportunists, waiting for their moment to take advantage of your generosity. And let me be clear about one more thing. People who misuse your kindness won't stop on their own. They'll continue to take as long as you continue to give. That's the pattern. That's the cycle. And it won't end until you make the decision to break it. Which means the responsibility is yours. It's up to you to see the signs, to recognize when someone is no longer honoring your generosity, but abusing it. and to have the courage to say, enough. That's not cruelty. That's wisdom. That's self-respect. Some people will try to make you feel guilty for doing that. They'll say you've changed. They'll accuse you of not caring. They'll call you cold. But don't fall for the act. Because what they really mean is, I can't manipulate you anymore. What they really hate is the fact that you're no longer easy to control. That you're protecting your peace, your health, and your hard-earned resources. And let's be honest, isn't that exactly what you should be doing at this point in life? Real love doesn't take advantage of you. True friendship doesn't depend on your bank account. The people who truly care about you, the ones who are in your life because of who you are, not what you own, will never make you feel like your value is measured by your wallet. Whether you give them $1 or not a single cent, their affection won't change. That's how you know it's real. So be cautious, be thoughtful, and yes, be generous when it feels right. But don't allow anyone to twist your kindness into a weakness. Especially at this stage of life, you don't need people who treat you like a walking ATM. You need people who see you as a person, who value your presence, not your possessions. And those are the only ones worth keeping around. Now let's talk about something even more personal, family. It's one of the greatest gifts life can offer. In an ideal world, family members are the people who stand by your side through every storm. They offer love, comfort, and support. But let's be honest, not every relative brings peace into your life. Some bring stress, some bring guilt, and others, unfortunately, bring manipulation disguised as love. As you grow older, it becomes even more important to protect yourself from these patterns. Because the damage they can cause isn't just emotional. It can drain you mentally and financially too, especially if you're not paying attention. And here's where it gets especially difficult. Manipulative family members are often the hardest people to set boundaries with. Why? Because they use your love against you. They know you care. They know you're compassionate. And they exploit that. They tug on your heartstrings and make you feel like you owe them something. Like you're always supposed to say yes. And the moment you try to stand up for yourself, the moment you draw the line, they flip the script. Suddenly, you're the selfish one. You're accused of being distant, uncaring, even cold. And they know exactly which words will cut deepest. After everything I've done for you. Or, you're the only one I can count on. Is this how you treat family? And if guilt doesn't work, they'll turn to emotional manipulation. They'll bring up old memories, twist past favors, and craft a story where you're the one in debt. Before you even realize what's happening, the conversation has flipped, and you're the one apologizing for simply trying to protect yourself. But let's be clear about one thing. Love should never feel like a trap. True family shouldn't make you feel obligated to do things that leave you emotionally exhausted or financially vulnerable. Of course, we love our families. Of course, we want to be there when they need us. But love is not. Love is never about control. And anyone who tries to make you feel guilty for protecting your peace, that's not love. That's manipulation rooted in selfishness. You see, true manipulators don't just want your help. They want control. They want access. They want to ensure that, whenever they need something, whether it's money, time, or emotional comfort, you'll always say yes. And they expect that, no matter what it costs you. They rarely stop to ask if you're tired, if you're overwhelmed, or if you even want to help in that moment. They're not interested in your limits. They don't check in to see how you're holding up. All they see is what they can get from you. And the moment you say no, the warmth disappears. Suddenly, they turn cold, distant, disappointed. Now, maybe you've thought to yourself, but they're my family. Shouldn't I do everything I can for them? And here's what I'll tell you. You can love someone deeply without letting them take advantage of you. You can care for someone without allowing them to manipulate your kindness. Love should be given freely. It should never be demanded. It should never be used as leverage or as a tool to control your actions or your emotions. And here's another truth to remember. Real family doesn't put you in situations where you have to choose between your well-being and their happiness. Genuine love doesn't ask you to harm yourself just to make someone else feel better. Real family wants what's best for you too, not just what's easiest or most convenient for them. So if someone, no matter how closely related, only shows up when they need something, if they make you feel guilty for drawing a line or for protecting your boundaries, then they aren't treating you like family. They're treating you like a resource, a solution, a fallback plan. So what can you do? You set boundaries. You take the time to decide clearly what you're willing to give, whether it's time, money, energy, or emotional space, and then you hold to that decision. You don't waver every time they guilt you. You don't fold just because they raise their voice or mention old memories. And when they try to pull you back into that familiar place of obligation, when they say things designed to make you feel like the bad guy, you remind yourself of one simple truth. Your peace matters too. Because manipulative people don't change just because you give more. They only change when you stop allowing the manipulation to work. The truth is, manipulative people don't change because you keep giving in. They change only when they finally realize they can no longer control you. And if that realization makes them upset, if they distance themselves for a while, then so be it. Let them. Because the people who genuinely love you will respect your boundaries. They may not always agree with you, but they won't punish you for protecting yourself. On the other hand, those who were only in your life for what they could gain, the ones who saw you as a source of convenience or comfort, they'll vanish the moment those benefits disappear. And honestly, that's one of the clearest signs of all. When someone walks away because they can no longer use you, that tells you everything you need to know about their intentions. There's something about getting older that makes peace more precious than ever. You find that you no longer have the patience for unnecessary drama or petty conflict. You no longer feel the need to entertain people who constantly stir up stress or bring chaos to your life. You simply don't have the energy for it anymore. And why should you? And if there's one kind of person you absolutely need to keep your distance from, it's the gossip spreaders. These are the people who never seem to focus on their own lives, because they're too busy talking about everyone else's. You've probably met them. You may even have one or two in your circle. They always seem to know the latest story, the newest rumor, what's happening in someone else's home, someone else's marriage, someone else's personal struggles. And they love to talk. They'll sit beside you, lean in close, lower their voice, and say something like, "Did you hear what happened to so-and-so?" Before you even respond, they're off, spilling every detail like they're reading a news report. At first, it might seem harmless, maybe even a little amusing. But here's what you need to remember. If they're gossiping to you, they are absolutely gossiping about you. The same person who leans in to whisper someone else's secrets will walk out of the room and share yours with just as much ease. And here's what makes it even worse. Half the time, the story isn't even true. Coming up next, we'll dive deeper into how gossip damages trust and what to do when you're stuck in a toxic social circle. The truth is, gossip isn't about truth, it's about drama. It's about keeping things stirred up, keeping the air thick with tension, and keeping people distracted from what really matters. Gossip thrives on confusion. It feeds on speculation. And the worst part? It doesn't just stay contained to the people who speak it. It spreads, infecting those who simply sit nearby and listen. You might tell yourself, "I'm not participating, I'm just listening." But little by little, that energy, those careless words, those whispered judgments, they start to sink into your spirit. You begin to look at people differently, question their intentions, assume the worst without even knowing the truth. And before you realize it, you're not just a bystander anymore. You're part of the cycle. The same negativity you once dismissed becomes the language you now speak. Because gossip doesn't only wound the person being talked about, it harms the one who spreads it. It slowly erodes your character, poisons your relationships, and chips away at your ability to trust. And what's even worse, it pulls your focus away from your own growth. Instead of investing energy into bettering your own life, you get caught up in dissecting someone else's. The older you get, the more clearly you see. That's not the path you want to walk down. Time is precious. Energy is limited. And spending your days picking apart other people's lives robs you of the joy and clarity you could be cultivating in your own. And here's another truth to keep in mind. People who constantly gossip are never truly happy. Ask yourself, have you ever met someone who radiates peace, someone who feels deeply content and fulfilled, and yet spends their days talking about others behind their backs? Of course not. People who are at peace with themselves don't meddle in other people's business. They don't need to tear others down to feel secure. They don't need to spread rumors to feel important or connected. The only people who invest their time in gossip are those running from something within themselves, their own emptiness, dissatisfaction, or unresolved pain. So what do? You take a step back. You distance yourself. You don't give gossip a platform in your life. You don't sit quietly and nod while someone tears another person apart. You don't sit quietly while someone tears another person down. You don't nod along with the whispers, the secrets, or the half-told stories. And when someone brings gossip to your doorstep, you stop it in its tracks. You simply say, "That's not my business. I'm not interested. Let's talk about something more uplifting." And just like that, watch what happens. They either change the subject or they move on to someone else who'll entertain their drama. Because here's the truth. Your time is far too valuable to waste on other people's nonsense. Your peace is too precious to be disturbed by drama that has absolutely nothing to do with you. Instead, surround yourself with people who bring joy into your life. People who encourage you, speak hope into your heart, and build you up instead of breaking others down. Because in the end, the conversations you allow into your life will quietly shape your mindset, your mood, and your direction. And let's be honest, don't you want to spend your remaining days in peace, not caught up in useless chatter? As the years pass, you begin to see people more clearly. When you're young, it's easy to believe that everyone who smiles at you truly cares about you. It's easy to assume that everyone who shows up in your life comes with good intentions. But over time, life has a way of pulling back the curtain and revealing the truth. And one of the hardest lessons you'll ever have to learn is this. Some people are only around when it benefits them. They show up when they need something, whether it's money, advice, or a favor. And in those moments, they act like you're the center of their universe. You're important. You're special. You're the one they rely on. But the moment things start going well for them, silence. No calls. No messages. No concern about how you're doing. Suddenly, you don't hear from them anymore. Not a word. It's like you only existed when they needed something. And you know exactly the kind of people I'm talking about. You could be struggling. You could be in pain. You could be walking through one of the hardest seasons of your life, and they wouldn't even notice. And why? Because the truth is, they were never really there for you. They were there for what you could offer, for what they could take. That's what makes people like this so dangerous. It's not always obvious in the beginning. They don't come wearing warning signs. In fact, they're often charming. They know exactly how to make you feel needed, how to make you feel important. And when you care about someone, your heart wants to believe the best. You don't always see the signs right away. You start making excuses for them. Maybe they're just busy. Maybe they're going through something too. Maybe they'll come through for me next time. But next time never comes. And slowly, you begin to see it for what it is. This relationship, it's not balanced. It's not mutual. You're always the giver, and they're always the taker. You're the one who checks in, the one who listens, the one who helps, the one who shows up. And them, they take what they need, they say thank you, or sometimes nothing at all. And they move on. And the moment you need something in return, suddenly, they have excuses. Suddenly, they're too busy. Suddenly, it's not a good time. And you're left wondering if they ever truly cared at all. Let me be honest with you. Real relationships don't work that way. Real friendships, real love, real connection, it's all built on mutual care. It's not supposed to feel one-sided. It's not about convenience. It's about commitment. If someone only sees your value when they need something from you, then they don't really see your value at all. And the sooner you accept that truth, the sooner you'll stop wasting your energy on people who don't deserve your time. Because here's something age teaches you. Life is far too short to keep people around who don't actually care. And the older you get, the more you realize this. Time is the most precious thing you own. Once it's gone, you don't get it back. And you certainly don't want to spend it chasing after people who wouldn't even cross the street for you. You don't want to spend your energy on relationships that leave you feeling drained, used, or unappreciated. You deserve better than that. And deep down, you know it. But let's be honest, it's not always easy to walk away. Some of these people might be family. Some might be friends you've known for decades. That history can make it hard to let go. But the truth is, relationships should never be built on guilt or obligation. They should be rooted in love, in respect, in real and honest connection. And if someone only reaches out when they want something from you, then they were never truly there to begin with. They weren't investing in you. They were investing in what they could take. So what do? You make a choice. You stop making yourself constantly available to people who are never there for you. You stop picking up the phone every time someone calls just because they want a favor. You stop rearranging your life for people who wouldn't inconvenience themselves for 5 minutes if you needed help. And instead, you start focusing on the ones who really matter. You turn your energy toward the people who check in just to see how you're doing. The ones who show up not because they need something, but because they care. The ones who love you for who you are, not for what you can provide. The ones who see your presence, not your usefulness. Because in the end, Life is too precious to spend on people who treat you like a convenience. You're not an option on someone's to-do list. You're a person, and the only relationships worth nurturing are the ones where you're seen, heard, and valued, not just used. Surround yourself with people who recognize your worth. People who call you a friend or family because of how you make them feel, not because of what you can do for them. Because those are the relationships that truly matter. Those are the ones that sustain you. And here's something no one really talks about. One of the hardest parts of getting older isn't the wrinkles, the aches, or the slower pace. It's how people start treating you differently. People who once listened to your advice now brush off your words. People who once looked up to your experience now act like your age makes you invisible. It's like the years you've lived, full of lessons, hardships, victories, and wisdom, somehow count for less. And that shift can be painful. These are the ones I call the ageist dismissers. The people who assume that just because you're older, you no longer have anything valuable to contribute. And let me be clear, these are exactly the kind of people you need to distance yourself from. You see, society has a strange way of measuring worth. When you're young, people notice you. They listen closely when you speak. They seek out your opinions. They even look up to you. Your presence holds weight. But as time passes, something shifts. You begin to notice that some people stop paying attention. You could be in the middle of sharing a thoughtful idea, only to be interrupted, like your words don't matter. You could walk into a room, and instead of being welcomed, you're barely acknowledged, as if you're invisible. And if you're not careful, if you're not firmly grounded in your own worth, you may start to believe them. That's the danger of being surrounded by people who dismiss you. They don't just ignore your voice. They chip away at your confidence. They make you question your relevance, your purpose, your very place in the world. They feed the lie that your time has passed, that you're just a background character in life's story, and that it's time to step aside so the world can move on without you. And if you allow that narrative to take root, they'll slowly drain your spirit until you forget just how much you still have to offer. But hear me when I say this. Your life still holds deep value. Your experiences still count. Your wisdom is still needed. The moment you begin to believe otherwise is the moment you let the wrong people define who you are. Age is not something to hide or feel ashamed of. It's something to honor. It's proof that you've lived, that you've endured hardships, overcome seasons others couldn't imagine, and learned lessons that can't be taught in a book or a classroom. You carry the kind of wisdom that only time can give. And anyone who tries to dismiss you because of that, they clearly don't understand what true wisdom really is. Think about it for a moment. Where would the world be without the knowledge of those who came before us? Every meaningful advancement, every breakthrough, every truth that still guides us today was passed down by someone who lived long enough to share it. Yet we live in a time where youth is celebrated and age is often ignored, where experience is overlooked in favor of whatever's new, where people assume that if you're not keeping up with trends or technology, you must be falling behind. But let me remind you of something important. Wisdom isn't found in what's trending today and forgotten tomorrow. It's found in what stands the test of time. And if there's one thing you've gained over the years, it's a deep, unshakable understanding of what truly matters. You've witnessed the rise and fall of countless ideas. You've lived through the shifting seasons, the changing tides of culture, and the repetitive cycles of life. Through it all, you've learned what's truly important and what never really was. That kind of wisdom is rare, and it's exactly what the world needs more of, not less. So don't waste your time around people who make you feel small. Don't keep company with those who ignore your voice or brush off your presence like it's irrelevant. If someone treats you like your perspective no longer matters, walk away. Let them go. Because here's the truth. The right people will always recognize your worth. They'll honor your experience. They'll seek your advice. They'll genuinely value your presence. Those are the people you want close to you. Those are the ones worthy of your time, your trust, and your heart. Because here's what's also true. You still have life to live. You still have insight to share. As long as you're here, as long as you're breathing, your presence carries weight. Don't ever let anyone convince you otherwise. Life is far too short to spend it chasing the approval of people who don't truly care. As we grow older, we begin to realize what actually holds value. Peace, respect, and genuine love. And those things will always mean more than trying to please people who only drain us in return. That's why we must protect what's sacred, our time, our energy, and our hearts. We must guard ourselves from the financial leeches, the manipulators, the gossip spreaders, and the ones who only reach out when they need something. We must learn to step back from those who diminish us, who treat us like we're invisible, who fail to recognize the deep wisdom age brings. Because the truth is, we're still here. We still matter. We're still needed. And we deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift us, who celebrate us, not people who use us or make us feel small. So be intentional. Be discerning. Choose wisely who you allow into your life, because the right people will bring you peace, purpose, and meaning in every moment you share. And at this stage of life, there's nothing more important than that. Wishing you health, happiness, and strength. And don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Daily for more wisdom that honors your journey.